Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Happy days are here again in Kansas City, or so Chiefs fans think, after that resounding rout of the Bills on Monday night. But they've tailed off in the past, Trump, after big wins. Now the question is, can they keep up the momentum?
Don, difference now as opposed to then is that their defense last Monday night against Buffalo did something that nobody in the AFC thought any team could do to Buffalo, and that is shut down their offense. So I think that was a turnaround game for the Chiefs, and they are for real.
The Dolphins come in 3-3. Dan Marino coming off his best passing day of this season. But the Dolphins' injury problems mount to unbelievable proportions. Now their best linebacker's gone.
Yeah, John Offerdahl, as everybody in Miami knows, is out for the season. So, again, the responsibility for this football team is squarely on the shoulders of Dan Marino. And there have been times in his career where he's pulled off some magic, getting the ball down the field, forcing it in there, and making the receptions. And frankly, I think for the rest of this season, not just today, the rest of this season, Dan Marino's going to have to come up with a lot of magic for Miami to succeed.
Well, the Chiefs remember well his magic. You'll recall last January in that wild card playoff game at Joe Robbie Stadium, Dolphins down 16-3, and then Marino with his fourth quarter magic brought them to the 17-16 win.
Don, he's one of those remarkable quarterbacks that has a great sense of what defense he's facing. He has a great deal of confidence in his arm and his receivers, and he can carry the Miami Dolphins. He has for years. They've not won a lot, but they've really sent fright into an awful lot of football teams, even with just him as their big offensive weapon.
Dolphins have won the toss, now received to start the game as the kick goes downfield. And first-year player Aaron Craver elects to down the ball. And the Dolphins will go on offense, 1st and 10 at their 20.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler bring you this NFL Game of the Month. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
The war chant has begun, 76,000 strong, exhorting the Chiefs. As Marino, who could be throwing early in this game, he told us yesterday they might try to cross up the defense. And he will throw on first down. He makes the connection to his tight end, Greg Beatty. The yardage is a must. We welcome those of you who've just watched the Cowboys defeat the Cincinnati Bengals by a score of 35-23. As Trump, your old team, the Bengals, continues winless after a playoff appearance a season ago.
0 for 91 so far. That's 6 losses in a row.
The gain to Beatty with the ball is spotted as ahead for just about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Marino, the quickest arm in the league. The toughest quarterback to sack. Tough to call signals as the chant begins. Again, a play fake. Marino at time drills a fastball to Clayton. He's ahead for a Miami first down. Out to the 34-yard line. Mark Clayton's 29th reception of the year is good for 10 yards and a Dolphin first down. There's the blockers for Marino. Webb, Widener, Udelnik at center today. Galbraith and Dennis. Sammy Smith starts at running back. He missed the first 4 games with a knee strain. Page will be his blocker when they go with 2 backs. Duper and Clayton having good years. Beatty coming off his best day as a pro. Caught 4 for 89 against the Patriots. High set now. Dolphins go to their first run, and Sammy Smith hits hard into the left side of the Chiefs defense. There's not a lot there, maybe a yard, perhaps 2, thrown back by inside backer Dino Hackett and by safety Duron Cherry. Maz, Saliamuna, and Neil Smith are across the front. Derek Thomas, the great all-pro pass rusher, Hackett, Simeon, and Martin are the other 3 backers. Thomas is the player to watch. He personally destroyed the Buffalo offense on Monday night. Pearson and Ross at the corners. Ross, one of the best players in the National Football League at his position. Kevin Porter and Duron Cherry, a 6-time Pro Bowl player, at the safeties. Dolphins now set up. It is 2nd down. They need 6. Here's the rush. Marino drills another one, but he's to the wrong side of Smith. Marino looking for an out pattern. Smith was running a slant.
Don, you mentioned at the outset of the game exactly what Miami wants. Against Kansas City's base defense, Miami and Dan Marino feel that they can throw. And what Kansas City liked, Don Shula is the guy who came up with the idea, along with Gary Stevens, the offensive coordinator. Throw against that base defense, and that's what they try to do here in the first few minutes of the ballgame.
Don Shula, as you see, 8-3 career against Kansas City. He drafted Marty Schottenheimer, the coach of the KC Chiefs at Baltimore, but Schottenheimer signed with Buffalo. That was a long time ago. On 3rd down and 6, Marino fires, but he's a little bit too much lead on the ball for Clayton. The Dolphins have to punt the ball.
Looked like J.C. Pearson got away with one there. Looked to me like he had a hold of Clayton as Clayton made the outbreak, but no flag.
And the war chant begins again. The ex-Dolphin Troy Stratford is back for Kansas City. Roby hits him a knuckleball. It takes a dead hop at the 30, and the Dolphins finally down the ball at the Kansas City 32-yard line.
I think Reggie Roby was thinking about that blocked punt last year in the playoff game. You bet.
Charles Washington blocked one of Roby's punts that led to a Kansas City score in that playoff game. But now the Chiefs come out on offense. Not a great offense. It rates 19th in the National Football League out of 28 teams. Alt is an outstanding tackle. Grunhardt, a second-year player from Notre Dame at center, has become a dominant player at that position. DeBerg, the veteran quarterback, Okoye, you know all about him. Hits like a cement truck, a wrecking ball. And he is the lone setback now as they go to wing formation. And Okoye is the man, and he hits ahead for about 4 yards to the 36-yard line. We welcome those of you who've been watching the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Redskins. The Skins remain unbeaten as they rout the Browns 42-17 today. This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Sold out Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Chiefs, their record up to 4-2, coming off what some people think is the biggest win since Arrowhead opened in '72, the Monday night rout of Buffalo. Okoye again on 2nd and 5. They cannot stop him. He takes his own blockers, pushes them forward, and knocks back Miami tacklers. Okoye is out to the 43-yard line before he is tackled on the play by inside linebacker Cliff Odom.
And you can see at the outset what Miami's idea here is. Here's a safety within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. 9 guys to stop Christian Okoye. You don't measure the success of this Kansas City offense so much by yards as you do on a seismic graph, you know. They got 3 formations, big, bigger, and biggest.
And they're jamming the front again as they go back to Okoye. He breaks the grip. Finally, one of the safeties upends him. Jarvis Williams makes the tackle, but it's 13 yards downfield.
And you're talking about a guy, Christian Okoye, who with his pads on the other day, just as a joke, got on the scale and weighed 280 pounds and runs better than 4'5".
That 260 is without equipment. 280 he weighed in at. He again is 7 yards deep. As the lone setback, power football by the Chiefs just blasting out at the Dolphins. Back to the money, back to Okoye, and back again is Okoye for a 6-yard gain.
Now you see Kansas City staying at the line of scrimmage. David Griggs makes the tackle.
The front 7, Jeff Cross, T.J. Turner, Alfred Oglesby. Hugh Green starts at an outside backer. Reichenbach is in for the injured John Offerdahl. Odom, the other inside backer. Bestie Jackson and J.B. Brown are the corners, and Jarvis Williams and Louis Oliver are going to have a lot of hitting to do. You need a lot of run support from your safeties to stop Christian Okoye as we now come to 2nd down and 5. High set, back to number 35. Breaks it, he's going to go in. Christian Okoye, touchdown, Kansas City.
Shula's worst nightmare. First drive, all Okoye. From behind the defense, you see the cutback by Okoye. Great move there. Miami over pursued, and I understand why. Kansas City goes, 70 yards? Okoye got every inch.
68 yards it was, Trump, and all by Okoye. The touchdown run, 38 yards. Lowry hits the point after, and the Chiefs, in their first possession, take a 7-0 lead.
Miami with 9 guys at the line of scrimmage. They try to get him going this way. This is the key block. Jonathan Hayes cuts off the pursuit, and Christian Okoye able to go 38 yards for the initial score.
Now Nick Lowry kicks off, hits a high spinning kick that's taken by Craver at the 8-yard line. And a thunderous hit put on at the 21-yard line as the Chiefs are popping all over the field. McNair, number 48, was the guy that hit him. Back and set to go now. Kansas City digs in on defense. Marino, it appears, is going to have to throw the ball at least 40 times today. This team gives you virtually nothing on the ground. Miami's going to try it. Sammy Smith hits ahead. He got 1 or 2 yards. Dan Saliamua, the middle line, the nose tackle, made the stop. Number 97 for Kansas City. Let's check the ITT 10-minute ticker. Washington goes to 7-0 on the season. New Orleans a victor today, and the Saints remain unbeaten. Buffalo gets back on the win total, upping their record to 6-1 now. Dallas was a victor over Cincinnati, and Minnesota blasted the Phoenix Cardinals. Jets lead, Atlanta leads, and so do the Kansas City Chiefs here at Arrowhead, 7-0. Marino on 2nd and 8. Lets it go. He's got a man for a first down. As Clayton is taken down at the 42-yard line. Laser sharp is Marino drilling the ball in on the line with 2 defenders on Clayton.
Kansas City likes man-to-man coverage, and here you see Ross on the outside. There's J.C. Pearson, 24 on the outside coverage on Clayton. Marino with that quick release, still able to get it to Clayton, even though coverage was good for an 18-yard gain.
Dan Marino and Mark Clayton, the most prolific touchdown combination in NFL history. On the pass catch side, surpassing Unitas and Berry of the Colts. Marino pump faking, throws the ball to Sammy Smith. And a penalty marker is down as somebody grabbed Marino's face mask. That's what he's signaling to the referee, Pat Haggerty. Personal foul signaled against the Chiefs.
You called it. Face mask by the defense.
Sun now breaking through on seasonably warm October day. Temperature in the mid-70s.
5-yard face mask, number 54.
Tracy Simeon, an inside backer.
From the end of the run.
Inadvertent, he was on the blitz, picked up by Widener, number 60, but raked his hand across Dan Marino's face mask, and they added on to the reception by Sammy Smith.
Important drive for the Dolphins, who trail 7-0. As Okoye ran 68 yards in the opening drive for the Chiefs, the last 38 for a touchdown. On 1 run on first down, Smith hitting hard. And Sammy Smith, who came into the game with just 3 rushes for -1 yard, is taken down by Bill Maas.
For those of you who don't know, Higgs, the running back who was very good in the first 2 games of the season, has a strained thigh muscle, so Sammy Smith comes in for the start. Derek Thomas kind of cleans up on this play, but Bill Moss, you see, number 63, makes the initial contact. Or about a 2-yard gain, no more than that.
Marino on a called rollout on 2nd and 8. It'll be 3rd down and 8 as J.C. Pearson broke up the play. His intended receiver was Mark Clayton. Pearson starting for the injured All-Pro Albert Lewis, who's out with a knee strain. Albert in the booth next to us with some Chiefs coaches. Marino thinks he's as good a one-on-one cover as there is in the league.
Yeah, this Kansas City Chief football team missing not only the gentleman you just mentioned is an excellent coverage man, Albert Lewis, but also their best receiver, Stephon Page, and still 4-2.
And Emil Harry, another Chiefs receiver, sidelined with injury today. Marino in the gun. 3rd down and 8. Good pass blocking and a perfect throw by Marino to Mark Duper down to the 30-yard line. So the Dolphins needed 8, and they get ahead for a gain of 15.
Duper's got man-to-man coverage out here with Ross. No, I take it back. It's zone. You can see Ross looking back into the backfield looking for Dan Marino. Duper runs an excellent pattern. Kansas City ran a blitz off that zone that time. Kind of interesting that they tried to do that. And the blitzer was J.C. Pearson from the outside, 24.
So the Dolphins move the ball down the field. Marino moving it all around, looking primarily at Clayton, then at Duper. He play fakes again. Good blocking. Here's an out pad, another connection to Mark Clayton. So the Marino-Clayton combination eating up yards as the Dolphins drive down into scoring range. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line of Kansas City.
It's very obvious that they're going to pick on J.C. Pearson here. Clayton, excellent move upfield, and Pearson just gives him too big of a cushion. You can't play a receiver like Mark Clayton. 9 years in the league. He knows how to beat a guy and lacks coverage, and Marino has great confidence in Mark Clayton. That coverage is going to have to tighten up here for Kansas City.
Marino goes right into the shotgun on 1st down. Here's the rush. Marino fires. And Duper was going into the end zone, and Marino is incensed, and it's a Duper who he feels did not run the pattern he called.
Yeah, Don, I think nowadays you see a lot of this because there are option routes run by receivers, and the quarterback reads one defense, the receiver reads another, and the net result is the quarterback throws it where the receiver ain't. Miscommunication again.
Dan Marino and Duper slapped hands, ready to get back on the same page. The 9th play of this drive is coming up. 6:29 to play in the 1st quarter. Chiefs lead the game 7-0. Okoye from 38 yards out on a straight ahead run. Smith. Not much. He got 2. Leonard Griffin was the tackler.
This defense of Kansas City, as you look at that graphic, has been, to say the least, unbelievable in 1991. Last year, they allowed a whole bunch of scores inside the 20. And Bill Cowher, their defensive coordinator, said, we're going to fix that. And they have, in the first 5 games, been excellent in the opponent's red zone, not allowing the opponent in the end zone.
Now let's watch what Marino does on 3rd down and 9. Crowd roars deafening. He's calling snap count with his foot movement. There's a throw and a catch. Again, Marino with a perfect out throw, and it's to Mark Duper. And the Dolphins have a 1st down. Billy Bell was covering as Marino Trump releases the ball before Duper makes his break.
And he reads defenses so well. That's the secret to Dan Marino. Watch him scan the field. Gets a quick read. He also knows where the kid is. Billy Bell, just his 2nd year out of Lamar, not a real experienced defensive back. And they'll take Duper against a kid named Billy Bell every time. There's Gary Stevens talking to Mark Duper.
Now the Dolphins go. 1st down and goal. An enormously important drive for Miami, and Sammy Smith loses the ball. It's taken by Martin of Kansas City. He's on the run. It's a live play, and there's no flags down. Martin, still on the run, is going to go the distance.
99 yards.
Chris Martin, a 99-yard fumble return.
When Sammy Smith goes up in the air, disaster happens. It looked like Simeon, 54, made the contact, and nobody from Miami, it is Simeon, 54 makes the contact. Martin picks that ball up, and he needs 1 block to go 99 yards, and Burris gets it for him.
The extra point is hit up and good by Lowry. And the Chiefs, with the feeding frenzy on, exhorted by their fans, have opened up a 14-0 lead. We've just been witness to the longest fumble return for a touchdown in National Football League history, or a tie for the longest. 100 yards it's been changed to by Chris Martin of the Chiefs.
Sammy Smith has been out with the injury. Doesn't carry the ball, doesn't protect it very well. You can see Simeon 54 puts his hat right on the football as Smith gets up in the air. Chris Martin picks it up.
His feet were in the end zone.
Absolutely. 100 yards.
Now back to live action, yet another Chiefs kickoff. And Aaron Craver grounds the ball in the end zone. So Craver lost the handle momentarily. The Dolphins, with a brilliant drive, took it down, first and goal at the 2, and appeared ready to tie up the game when Smith fumbled, struck hard going over the top, and the whole game turned.
And it's just like getting kicked in the stomach. The offense comes back out here. They went 78 yards to get to the goal line and cough it up. And now can they recapture any kind of momentum if you're Miami?
Big things are happening for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's Chris Martin, an outside linebacker, picking up a fumble of Sammy Smith's at the goal line, taking it 100 yards for a return. Touchdown Chiefs, their second of the first quarter. And they lead the game 14-0 as Marino and the Dolphins, who moved right through Kansas City last possession with the passing game, go to the run. And wisely, they go right to Sammy Smith. Get right back in the pilot seat and go back up after a bad landing.
That's one of the great things about Don Shula. He will not lose confidence in Sammy Smith and give him another chance to carry. But I was kind of surprised, though, that Sammy Smith goes in the air again.
Let's check the 10-minute ticker now. The ITT 10-minute ticker. Jets extend their lead over the Oilers to 10-0. An underdog Atlanta up on San Francisco. Here's a Marino throw to tight end Greg Beatty. On second down and 6, they got only about 1.5 yards as cornerback J.C. Pearson, number 24, hit the big tight end for the Dolphins.
Don, this Kansas City Chief defense has through many seasons been a man-to-man coverage team, and so far I've seen them in nothing but zone. With Albert Lewis on the sideline, Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Cowher, they have great confidence in that zone, but it does cut down on the pass rush. You don't see Derek Thomas getting to the quarterback when your defensive backs are playing zone.
So Marty Schottenheimer pacing the sideline. This game he considers vital. He doesn't want another 4-3 start. He's had 5 of those in his 6 years as a head coach. Here's a throw and a drop a little bit low to James Pruitt. But the Dolphins go 3 downs and out on offense, and they send their punter Reggie Roby back on the field. Chiefs will get it back and maybe in good field position.
Now here we've got bump and run coverage. You see the coverage all over the field. The man underneath there, number 39 for the Kansas City Chiefs,
Eric Everett.
Eric Everett did an excellent job in coverage, and frankly Marino forced that one in there.
There's Troy Stratford, the ex-Dolphin, back to return the punt. Roby stands in, takes his time, and booms one high. Stratford's going to run it back from his 29. Marker is down as Stratford is knocked out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Mark Logan came down to make the hit on special teams for the Dolphins. Now there's a break in the action. 14-0 Kansas City here at Arrowhead Stadium. 3:19 to go first quarter.
The last penalty by Kansas City. You're going to see it very graphically here. It's McNair on Jensen right there. And these guys always get caught. Illegal block in the back, 10 yards assessed. So Kansas City starts at their own 25.
Good old days back at Arrowhead Stadium as the Chiefs are sold out again. They went a lot of years without local television seeing the Chiefs in action. A big stadium, 76,000. And they know they have a contender. Last year in their 4th game of the season, the Chiefs routed the Cleveland Browns in a very emotional game because it was Marty Schottenheimer against his former team. But then the Chiefs proceeded to lose 3 of their next 5. And Schottenheimer said, our practices all week indicate we're not going to let up. He believes that You find out how you're going to play during the week. Your practices tell you. If you have good practices, you're going to play well, and they practice well after Monday night's rout. Okoye, same old story. The big guy up the middle on a first down carry. He's ahead for 3 yards. He does pass out some headaches, though.
Yes, he does. I mean, this guy's got to look like an avalanche coming at you after a while. What he's learned this year, and remember, this guy is a discus thrower from Nigeria. He's a track man, but he's learned that body lean that makes him an even worse thing to deal with. Watch the people that bounce off of him. He knocks Griggs, who was 250 pounds, 3 yards back.
Back to Christian Okoye. As perhaps you heard, his name Okoye in Nigerian means Sunday, and that's his day. He's absolutely one of the most charming people you'd ever meet. But all the charm and wit and good fellowship ends on Sunday afternoon.
You know, the thing I liked in talking to Christian yesterday, I said, "Are you famous in Nigeria?" And he said, no. The famous athlete from Nigeria is Akeem Olajuwon. They don't know anything about football over there in Nigeria, but they show all of Akeem Olajuwon's basketball games in Lagos. And he said, "I'm just a discus thrower. That's all I am."
And he said when he and Hakeem talk, they talk in English because he doesn't speak the same language. There's 30 different dialects in Nigeria. Back to Christian Okoye on 3rd and short. He needed to get to the 35-yard line. He might be just short.
Well, this could be rub it in time for Marty Schottenheimer. If he says 4th and short on my own 35-yard line, I'm going for it. He is telling Don Shula, you can't stop us. He's telling his team, I got great faith in you, fellas. They're going to measure, but what would you guess? He goes for it or not? The ball's on the line.
Well, the guy's been getting 8 yards.
He got it.
Pop.
They got it. Have we seen, have I missed a play here or nodded off to sleep, but has anybody but Christian Okoye carried the ball?
That's been the game until they stop it. That's what it's going to be. 8 carries so far.
77 yards.
Including a 38-yard touchdown run. Coach Shula was not pleased with the spot. Yeah, now Harvey Williams comes in the game. The rookie runner out of LSU, the Chiefs' #1 draft choice.
This guy's electric.
He's an Eric Dickerson run-alike, big, rangy with breakaway speed. And Williams at 220 pounds runs it on first down ahead for 4. As we now go to NFL Live in New York and Bob Costas. Bob? Perhaps Warren Moon's contract problem affecting the Oilers team. But at any rate, the Jets are a vastly improved team week by week, and so are the Chiefs as Harvey Williams runs hard again, but this time the Dolphins come in a swarm and knock him back at the 39-yard line. A loss of a yard on the play. First negative carry for a KC back. David Griggs, an outside backer, number 92, was the first man to hit him.
Miami still committing 9 guys to the line of scrimmage to stop this running game. We have not seen Kansas City put the ball in the air. I'm sure we will to this point. With this first quarter, Don Shula thought that, you know, his offense recovers, but watch his defense here. They stretch this out very, very well. And there's 3 guys there to make the tackle on Harvey Williams, which brings up 3rd down and 5.
Lewis Oliver also a lead tackler with Griggs. McNair is in the game. They like to throw to him, and they do. That is McNair breaking across midfield. He turns it inside the 40. And down to the 30-yard line. And a penalty marker down where McNair was knocked out of bounds by Jarvis Williams.
Personal foul, number 24. Blade hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty.
Vesti Jackson with an expensive penalty as the first quarter ends. The Chiefs in command 14-0.
The last reception by McNair. He's here. This is Bobby Harden. Watch what unfolds when McNair comes through the line of scrimmage. As I'm trying to clear this telestrator that doesn't want to clear. Thank you very much. You can see the excellent pattern run by McNair at the end of the play. You'll also see the late hit by Vesti Jackson, which adds 15 yards to the play.
Not a lot of action to Okoye, and he is stacked as he hits ahead. Got about 3 yards. But Okoye that time met some Dolphins who shot the gap. Tom Olivedati, defensive coach for the Dolphins, said our key is to really try to get him to go laterally. We want to plug those gaps and try to get him to go wide. Straight ahead, he's at his best. Jeff Cross was the tackler. As you look at the first quarter numbers, Christian Okoye on the Kansas City side. Opening drive was 68 yards. He had all 68 running the ball. There is Olivedati, Dolphins lead defensive coach. 2nd down and 8 comes up. Handoff to Okoye. And he's down to the 7-yard line. Needed 8 for a first down. Needed 11 for a touchdown. Again, 91. Jeff Cross was the tackler for Miami. Trump?
At Miami defensive front, they are really struggling to get off these big offensive linemen from Kansas City. See just a little move there. Odom 93 there, along with Cross 91 to make the tackle. As Cross is slow getting up on the field. 82 yards. He was the entire first drive for 68. There's Jeff Cross. Not another injury now for the Miami Dolphins. They are running out of people.
You don't hit Okoye, he hits you. A knockout runner.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Christian Okoye has been taught by his coaches here, and that is deliver a blow. Don't just accept the tackle. Punish them. Just what they wanted to hear around the league, right?
The Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. We have 14:04 to go in the first half here at Kansas City, and the Chiefs on a 38-yard touchdown run by Christian Okoye on their opening drive, and then a 100-yard return of a fumble by Chris Martin, a linebacker, for the second score has given the Chiefs a 14-0 lead. Donnie Gardner has now gone in, number 79, first-year player from Kentucky, in the defensive line of the Dolphins. 3rd down. Chiefs need 5 for a first down, 8 for a touchdown. And in the line, DeBerg with his throw into the end zone. He makes the connection. Tim Barnett. Touchdown Kansas City. The apparent call will be against the Dolphins, and that will be
Offside. Defense number 79. Decline. Touchdown.
Spread formation. Kansas City calls it the flush. Barnett at the top. Magruder, the man in coverage. Nice move by Barnett, a young man that Kansas City thinks is going to be one heck of a receiver to go with Stephon Page when he comes back. And we got a route already here. 21-0 with this extra point.
Tim Barnett, a rookie from Jackson State, with his 11th reception in the NFL, his 2nd for a touchdown. Lowry hits his 3rd extra point of the day. And we have a Little Bighorn revisited here at Arrowhead. Chiefs 21, Dolphins nothing. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Arrowhead as Nick Lowry kicks off 4th time in the game. Booming it downfield to Aaron Craver. 21-0 is the count. Kansas City in the lead as Craver, the rookie, is upended at the 16-yard line.
Now we'll go back to the touchdown. Here's Barnett. Here's Magruder. It's man coverage, but Magruder, when they get here, looks back into the quarterback, and the net result is Barnett runs a nice little in route. There's really no help inside. See, just that hesitation by Magruder, but DeBerg puts it on the line. 21st point for Kansas City. Firmly in control.
The telling play in this game, though, was the Dolphins' possession where they took it down the field with Marino throwing brilliantly to Clayton and Duper. 1st and goal at the 2. Smith goes over the top, fumbles, and a 100-yard return of the fumble for a touchdown. That was a knockout punch right there. As Marino looks deep, fires an out pattern, and makes a perfect throw to Mark Duper at the 30-yard line. Gain of 14 yards on the play.
Possession chart for the Miami Dolphins. You're right. That fumble is a killer. They had gone 68 yards.
Knockout punch.
Yep. Gone down the field, done what they wanted. Sammy Smith is hit by Tracy Simeon. Ball loose. Martin runs 100 yards with the ball. the second score of the game.
Coach Shula looking for a big play. Dan Marino has been throwing brilliantly. He's hit 9 of 14 so far in the game. Here's another throw. This time he leads his tight end, Greg Beatty, a little bit. Beatty can't extend to the ball, and it's 9 of 15 throws completed now by Dan Marino, as you see, for 97 yards.
Against this zone defense now that Kansas City is deploying here, certainly leading 21-0. You don't want to allow any receiver to get deep. I'm not so sure that Miami hasn't already changed its game plan. There's Bill Cowher, defensive coordinator. He's the guy who...
See that? They've not allowed a touchdown pass in 14 quarters. They've allowed the fewest touchdowns, the Chiefs defense, of any team in the NFL, just 6 so far. Marino with a slant, but it's off the hands of Tony Martin.
That's that flanker screen. We saw Florida State run that 2 weeks ago. He liked it so much he put it in, but Kevin Ross was right there to diagnose it. It did not work. It worked a lot better for Florida State than it has for Miami. They ran it last week for 2 yards. There's Marty Schottenheimer on the sideline. Bill Cowher, the defensive coordinator.
Chiefs come in with a 4-2 record. Their 2 defeats at the hands of Houston and New Orleans. Coach Shula's team coming in with a 3-3 mark. They broke a 6-game road losing streak with their win at New England last Sunday. But now they're in a deep hole by the Dolphins, down 21-0 early in the second quarter as the great sack artist Derek Thomas sprints in, and markers are down all over the field. Derek Thomas, who had 4 sacks against the Bills.
Encroachment, number 58.
Marty Schottenheimer says of Derek Thomas, he's got 2 terrific assets, great speed and great pride. He won't accept anything less than standout performance. That time he had too much speed, left early.
You know, the other thing is, too, Marty Schottenheimer said this guy now plays 3 downs. He used to just be a 3rd down player, rush the passer. But we've encouraged him, and he has accepted the responsibility of playing more team defense.
3rd down comes up for the Miami Dolphins. They need a long 5.
Audible.
Marino takes a look, buys some time. Incomplete at the 43-yard line.
Almost intercepted by Billy Bell.
Second-year corner from Lamar. Billy Bell makes a good play coming back at the ball.
You can see, number 1, that Marino is flush from the pocket. Neil Smith, 90 from the outside. Moss, 63 from the inside. And then Billy Bell gets in front of Tony Martin, it looked like, 89. Almost makes the interception, but brings up a 4th down for Miami.
A 4th down and another punt from Reggie Roby. Wind not a factor today. Perfect playing conditions. Temperature in the mid-70s as Stratford takes it from his 18. And his old pals, the Dolphins, come and sweep him under. 47-yard punt by Reggie Roby and no return by Stratford. But the Chiefs have their offense back on the field with Kansas City in the lead, 21-0. The Chiefs are ready to go on offense again. 1st and 10. Their 76,000 strong following, somewhat reserved for the moment. The war chant has been going on most of the day, and the Chiefs have been responding with power runs like that. This time it was Barry Word who got the call as Schottenheimer now mixes in his runners, giving everybody some work, and the gain is ahead for 7 yards as we check the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. On 2nd down and 3, they go back to the power run, and Barry Word, a 3rd-year back from Virginia, takes it close to the 30-yard line, appears to have a Kansas City 1st down. T.J. Turner was the tackler.
Well, you know, this is the bigger lineup, not the biggest, but they've got 2 tight ends, and watch the bow they put in the Miami Dolphin defensive line. You see, Turner has to spin around to get off the block of Tim Grunert, the offensive, the center. Play selection, 14 rushes, 2 passes for the Kansas City Chiefs. 11:20 to go in the 1st half. As you see, 1st down and 10.
as the ball is taken straight ahead. Williams is thrown back. T.J. Turner, the nose tackle, makes the play. A 280-pound nose tackle. He said one thing about the nose tackle, you got action all day long, but maybe more than you'd want here with these Chiefs coming right at him with the power run. Grunhard, the second-year center, is an absolute standout as an offensive line blocker. He totally dominated Buffalo's nose tackle. He was off the screen most of the day, just pushing him out of the play. 280-pound sophomore player, second year from Notre Dame. He was a second-round draft choice. Lou Holtz calls him a throwback, a guy who'd rather play without a face mask. Again, he opens up the pass blocking, and the throw is to Rob Thomas, and he's ahead to the 47-yard line, where Cliff Odom makes the tackle, but it's a 16-yard gain. Trump?
You've got so many people committed to the line of scrimmage now by the Miami Dolphins. And watch the receiver Thomas. You see a Hugh Green 55 outside. Looked like Griggs inside, and they're just finding a dead spot in the zone, and DeBerg hits him. Right now, Miami's defense, coordinator and players, they have no idea what to expect next. Everything for Kansas City has worked.
Particularly the straight-ahead power run. Here's a pitch. Harvey Williams. He's got speed. He breaks it as Williams spins out across midfield down to the 45-yard line. A first down carry, good for 8. That's what Schottenheimer was telling us, Trump. He said, we give you Okoye up the middle, pound, pound, pound. They hunker down to try to stop that power slant noise. We pitch to this guy who runs 4.4.
Yeah, how about that block by Bill Jones in front of him, too? 43. Took the legs out from underneath Bestie Jackson, and Williams picks up another 3 or 4 yards. Yeah, this is an offense that when it functions, it's scary to watch on film and scary to line up against.
And Williams really, as you see by those numbers, came alive Monday night with a 103-yard rushing night against the Bills. A second down and 2 carry. Okoye powers straight ahead.
Another thing about the Okoye when he's running the ball, great incentive for his offensive linemen to make their blocks. If this guy hits you in the back and you wear a Kansas City Chief uniform, you're going to be in the tub for about 3 days. He'll make your block and get out of the way.
So he's had the man hands out headaches. That's his business. He's run the ball 11 times today for 86 yards. Power set again. Okoye, the lone setback. They're going to go to him. They play fake to him, and DeBerg leaps downfield to Rob Thomas, and he's got the ball at the 29-yard line. They all bought the fake to the Dolphins, and Rob Thomas, whose dad played 10 years with the New York Giants as a receiver, makes the play for a 13-yard gain and a first down.
Excellent play-action fake by DeBerg. You can see Brown is in the zone coverage, and there's nobody underneath. Brown's out there isolated by himself because, again, everybody in Miami committed to that line of scrimmage to stop the run.
Chiefs winding down the game clock here in the second quarter. 8:05 to play in it. 21-0. KC Chiefs in the lead. Hands up, and Williams spins out the tackler and gets inside the Miami Dolphin 25-yard line where Cliff Odom hit him.
Man, this is unbelievable. They're getting 6 and 7 yards of crack. I mean, watch the push by the right side of the offensive line. See, Gardner is in there. You see 72 Lutz, 290-pound guard. Look, they push Miami's front 4 5 yards deep, and Williams does the rest.
What Shula was telling us last night, Trump, number one, we cannot get knocked off the ball. And that's exactly what the Chiefs' offensive line was doing, dominating the Dolphins just as they dominated the Bills. Again, Kansas City fires out. Marker comes in as Harvey Williams carries down to the 20-yard line where Turner, the nose tackle, made the tackle. Dolphins come in with a 23rd ranked defense. They moved up 4 notches. They were 27th out of 28 teams a week ago. But they've had an inordinate number of injuries, not the least of which was Tim.
Holding, number 61, offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Grunhard called for a hold here.
From behind the defense, let's see if we can pick it up. There's Grunhard. Oh, yes, sir, on T.J. Turner. Checking out that fabric, see if it's cotton, see if it's polyester. You got a mitt full, didn't he?
See if it's Vaseline. Apparently it was not. So DeBerg and the Chiefs offense now works with a second down play. They need 16. DeBerg, who's not thrown a lot this season, hasn't needed to, makes the play.
Nice catch.
Tim Barnett, the rookie, makes the play, takes the hit from Louis Oliver, another knockout tackler. But Barnett holds on. A man who caught a TD pass earlier.
Zone coverage by Miami. Boy, this shows me a lot about this kid.
It sure does. Really.
There's a big hitter in there named Oliver, and this kid catches it and hangs on for the first down.
Oliver, somewhat bewildered, checking his work. He didn't expect to see a conscious man lying there. If he heard the phone, he didn't answer it. But he bounces right back up as Barnett and the Chiefs march on. Now, first down, Okoye. It's not easy for a cornerback like J.B. Brown at 182 pounds to take on Christian Okoye. Let's go back to NFL Live. Don Prickey with Bob Trumpy. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. Chiefs have the ball. Okoye thunders down to the 6-yard line.
Look at there. 8 yards deep was the nose tackle, T.J. Turner, at the feet of Christian Okoye. I'm telling you, you just can't believe what happens here. T.J. Turner, watch what happens to that gentleman right there on this particular play. Number 95 is there to make the tackle, but watch where he's there to make the tackle. He gets shoved, he gets pushed. He's 5 yards deep. Okoye runs over him, and anybody else in the area.
Bernhardt knocked him back 5 yards, then Okoye the rest, and here's Christian Okoye down to the goal line, but not in.
Uncle.
Like a wrecking ball slamming into a brick building.
That's the defensive coordinator, Tom Alivadati. At Cross, you see Alt 76 stand up Jeff Cross, who is a quality player, and Alt just stands him up, and just people are bouncing off of this kid now, over 100 yards.
Blood in the water here at Arrowhead. The feeding frenzy of the Chiefs. Boom, there's Okoye. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Oh.
What are his numbers, Okoye? 15.
This is getting a little bit repetitious here, but again, the bow and the defense of the Miami Dolphins. T.J. Turner, an excellent defensive tackle. Can't even get his arms around Okoye, let alone slow him down.
He's now over 100 yards on 15 carries, 2 for touchdowns, 1 from 38 yards out, the other from less than a yard. Lowry hits another extra point. The Kansas City Chiefs have scored on all 3 of their possessions. They also got a defensive touchdown, which is a marker down on the point after.
This is what Miami's defense has to be looking at just before the snap of the ball. And to this point in this game, Don, after the snap of the ball, that's what they've been looking at. People lying at the feet and legs of Christian Okoye. Now you're at least number 1.
Good times are rolling here at Kansas City.
Shaking hands with his offensive lineman. Now that's a smart running back, if not a big running back.
And big he is, as you pointed out, Trump, with the pads on. He comes in at 280. 260 without. His line is huge.
Miami's certainly convinced of that. You don't have to tell them more than once that this guy weighs at least 280 with that helmet and shoulder pads on. Now, one other comment, too. The people in Miami probably have a distant memory of an offense very similar to this. Miami used to give it to a guy wearing number 39. He did the same thing to teams throughout the league.
Kickoff is downfield. Mark Logan takes it for the Dolphins. From the goal line, he crosses the 10. The 14 is the end of the line. Charles Washington, he likes it. possession as the Dolphins desperately try to get something going. Down 28-0. Here's the penalty marker. Throw and a catch.
Wouldn't you know it? Biggest play of the game, and it's got to be called back. Now, an interesting note about, here's the call.
Delay of game. Offense.
Last scoring drive by Kansas City, 13 plays. No third downs.
They don't need it. Like the Canadian League. They only need 2 downs, actually. You get 3 up there.
Unusual to have a delay of game on the first snap of the drive. You know that, Don?
It's so hard to call signals. He's been doing with the raised foot. His center looking back at him. Dan Shula's seen some amazing things in his 29 years as an NFL head coach. He isn't run into anything tougher than this today. Maybe at Buffalo when the wind blows late in the season. Here's a throw and a catch. Aaron Craver on the run for the Dolphins. He's across the 30-yard line and out to the 35. Dolphins get a big play with 3:42 to play in the half. 25-yard gain.
Well, Don, you mentioned Don Shula. He is not surprised at the performance of the Kansas City Chiefs. Told us last night that he thought last year Kansas City was the best team that they faced. Ross finally makes the tackle here.
Out pattern thrown by Dan Marino, side-arming the ball, trying to gun it to Tony Martin on a first down play. And that'll stop the clock with 3:22 to play in the first half. And the Chiefs in the lead 28-0. A fumble by Sammy Smith was run back 100 yards by linebacker Chris Martin. It was 14-0. And the knockout punch apparently was put on man as the Dolphins try to get back in it. Here's a handoff to Craver on second down. He gets only 2. 210-pound runner from Fresno State, tackled by Eric Everett.
Well, Dolphins trying to get something here in the first half. Any kind of semblance of offense down. Give him another chance to score. Shula's telling Dan Marino, let's go, let's go. Craver, get off the field. That is not a man you want yelling at you. He can sting.
He's been stung, and so have his Dolphins. Hit with an axe, a tomahawk of the Chiefs. Marino needs 6. He gets it. A tip ball. The second receiver was Tony Martin. Good if it goes, but it might be out of bounds.
One official is saying out of bounds. Second official was watching the catch. And I think always reviewable, but one official, that gentleman said the head linesman said his feet were out of bounds. I think the back judge said that he made the catch. Now they're bringing it back. No catch.
Bob Trumpy has his tomahawk chop.
I'm going to start selling this around the country because if this replaces the wave, I really like the chop.
Tony Martin not in bounds when he took the ball. It is legal to be touched by an offensive player and go directly to another offensive player. That was changed 3 years ago. Roby punts now as the Chiefs had the block on. Here's a penalty marker down way back field where Troy Stratford was positioned.
That was thrown.
Haggerty.
Delay of game again. Miami's coming apart here. You don't. Again, see if we can see whether or not his feet were down inbounds or out of bounds. Looks like his toe is out. So that call was correct, but you don't normally see a Don Shula coach team with delay of games happening.
Little chilly here for Coach Shula. He's used to 95. Low 70s. Reggie Roby will try again, and all outrushed. Schottenheimer wants it all. He's sicking him on the punter too, and here comes Troy Stratford. A legal block as Stratford is out to the 31-yard line. This play comes back.
That penalty is going to be on Washington.
Of the Chiefs.
Of the Chiefs.
Mark Logan was the tackler for the Miami Dolphins. Shula remembers vividly the longest NFL game. His Dolphins went to Municipal Stadium.
He'll go back. Number 46, on the return.
Went to Municipal Stadium, that was Washington as mentioned, and played the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas Day of 1971, the NFL's only game to go that deep into a second overtime. Playoff game, and Garo Yepremian with a 37-yard field goal won it for Miami 27-24. And then the next season they opened Arrowhead 72, and Dolphins came in here and won again, but not today. 28-0 Chiefs. Good times are rolling here in Kansas City, certainly for the Chiefs. Here is the tomahawk chop, and ironically the guy that has the patent on these is Chris Martin, the linebacker who ran it back that fumble recovery for a 100-yard touchdown.
Available everywhere around Kansas City, that is for sure. And on the other end of this has been the Miami Dolphins to this point in the first half. Not going well for Miami at all.
Chris Martin having a good day. There's about 40,000 of those tomahawk choppers in the stands as Okoye, who's having an even better day, pounds it at the Dolphins and takes it to the 15-yard line. As we look at the comparative rushing stats, Miami's rushed for 14 yards. Okoye is now rushed for 134. 14 yards total offense in the run game for Miami. 134 yards for Christian Okoye. So the question is answered whether or not the Chiefs could keep the momentum going. They're even better than last Monday night.
An option, man. The option.
It's an option. You get tackled by the guy. That's why he pitched.
Chiefs of yesteryear are back. That guy on the right there with the blonde hair is well known as one of the great place kickers in NFL history.
Jan Stenerud standing next to him. Buck Buchanan, number 86. Pete Elliott, director of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's Buck with a goatee. Still looks pretty young, doesn't he? He's a frightening guy to play against.
Sheer terror in the person of Christian Okoye. They just don't want it anymore. Oliver was telling us yesterday that to stop him, you've got to want to tackle him. But I think you stop wanting to after a while, as we check the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker.
Yeah, you can want to tackle him on Saturday, but when the bell rings on Sunday, there are things that can change your mind.
Look at Houston's rally to take a lead over the Jets. Atlanta surprising leader at San Francisco, and the Rams have come back to tie San Diego. Numbers here in Kansas City, all Chiefs 28-0 as they pound the ball to the Miami Dolphins.
You know, Don, we had a picture of Buck Buchanan. He played back in the 70s for Kansas City, and I don't know what weight Buck Buchanan played his entire career at, but I would bet that Christian Okoye weighs more today in this game than Buck Buchanan did for the majority of his career playing defensive tackle for Kansas City.
There's Buck talking to Bill Maas. Buck's trimmed down though. He looks good.
Lost a lot of weight.
He could throw some folks around, wouldn't he, Buck?
And would, too.
Whoops. Almost a fumble as DeBerg meets the blitz.
Just an incomplete pass.
Tried to shuffle it off. Jeff Cross was the first guy to get pressure on him, number 91. And the game clock is now stopped with 52 seconds to play. Kansas City with 247 yards rushing against Buffalo. And now keeping up that onslaught as Okoye's way over 100 yards in the first half.
Play action fake again, and the ball is intended for the tight end. It wasn't much of an effort, but Pete Holohan was in the area, so it was not intentional grounding. 5 of 6.
DeBerg's numbers, Trump, are all right throwing the ball this year. 6 TD passes, 4 interceptions. Last year, in his best season as a pro, 23 TD throws, just 4 interceptions for the season.
Oh, a drop by Holohan?
There are 10 has the best hands on the team.
Goodness, run that back. I'll bet he catches it. That's rare.
Holohan, they're hoping to get the ball to more, particularly with the injuries to Stephon Page and Emil Harry.
55, Hugh Green, the man in coverage, and Pete Holohan probably cannot believe that ball didn't stick in his hands.
His numbers the past 3 years prior to this one, they were all with the LA Rams, 159 receptions. They with San Diego, the Rams, and now coming here as a Plan B free agent. A rare down for the Chiefs. 3rd down, and they need 10 as DeBerg delivers to McNair. And it'll be short of a first down, so the Dolphins are going to call a timeout and try to get it back with a punt. And 41 seconds still showing to be played in the first half. Here's some interesting news of this day. The Chiefs are going to punt
for the first time. Christian Okoye is taking care of all the work that the punter might normally have.
Brian Barker is the punter, standing back at his 19-yard line. There's the deep man, a rookie, returns the punt for the Miami Dolphins. Wide receiver Scott Miller from UCLA.
Miami's got to go after this punt.
They're going, but Barker gets away up. Spiral drives Mitchell all the way back to his 9-yard line. And then he's sprung with a big block. 57-yard punt by Barker, almost an out-of-bounds hit on KC. Kevin Porter was the man who made the tackle. Marino in the Dolphins offense comes back out as the war chant heats up again. Just 29 seconds to play in the half. That is to NFL Live for the Domino's Pizza halftime report.
I see the numbers there. They haven't produced much. That one drive, Don, you kept repeating, that's the killer. You're right. With Sammy Smith coughs up the ball after all that hard work for 78 yards. Runs it in for a touchdown. Man, is that a kick in the stomach? Kansas City takes a timeout. They don't have enough players on the field here, Down. They only had 10 guys on the field. That's legal. Look, Howard.
You can play with 10, right?
Yes, you can.
Timeout.
He doesn't want you to.
Kansas City, number 1.
The way this team's been playing, maybe that's how we even things up. Have them play with 10.
Actually, I think Miami prefer to have the 10 on Kansas City's offense.
Yeah.
You know, they'll play with 11 on defense, but can we negotiate Okoye out of this game?
Cowher is a leading head coaching candidate. His reputation built the same as Schottenheimer's was as a standout defensive coach.
You're right. The thing I like most about Schottenheimer, and something that he insists from his coaches, is that they must continue to be teachers. They are not just there to examine other teams and decide what we're going to do on Sunday. You teach them the fundamentals of the spot. Schottenheimer has always been known for that.
It didn't come the easy way to Marty. In 1974, he was coaching in the World Football League. An assistant coach, his last 8 checks bounced. The league folded. He was broke. His mother-in-law sent the family money to buy Christmas presents. He finally hooked down with Bill Arnsparger with the Giants, and as they say, the rest is history. Acknowledges one of the game's top head coaches. Here is a throw and a drop.
Little timid there on that slant by Mark Duper. Watch the brakes applied here. He's running the little delay underneath. Whoops. I see people in there.
Dolphin heads into the shark tank. That defense has teeth in it. And that was purely a drop.
You're being kind.
.26 seconds to play in the first half. There's a throw. This time down with the ball is Tony Martin, ahead for a Miami first down. And the clock is stopped with 20 seconds to play. Ball out to the 35-yard line. Expanding a little more on that Schottenheimer story. We'll do that after you watch Tony Martin here, Trump, for a 17-yard gain.
Kansas City now in the prevent defense. Bell is going to make sure that Tony Martin does not get past him. They'll give up that yards. Continue the story.
Schottenheimer said he was just flat broke, he and his wife, in 74, and he talked to Bill Arnsparger and said, I can do something good for you. I can break down all the players in the World Football League. And he thought Arnsparger said, I'll pay you $1,500 to do that. But what he had actually said was $50 or $100. Schottenheimer did a thick report. He sent it, got the check back, waiting for $1,500 in the mail. And it was $125. Arnsparger thought he was giving him a $25 bonus because the report was so good. Schottenheimer said, it's the lowest I've ever been. My wife's working. I'm sending out resumes. We're flat broke. Nowhere to go. And a $125 check comes in. But he said then a couple of months later, Arnsparger called and hired him with the Giants as an assistant in 1975 for $24,000.
Been in the NFL ever since. And will be here for a long time.
Marino throws the ball. It was taken by Duper, and he's out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Marino's been throwing effectively. Those quick 3-step drops and a delivery. They've not sacked him. In fact, the pass blocking's been surprisingly good. They've moved the ball well at the Dolphins. Trump throwing it.
But that That one fumble by Sammy Smith. You have to admire a guy like Dan Marino, in this spot facing this kind of defense down 28-0 on the road. There's nothing comfortable about this spot, but Dan Marino continues to chug away out there.
Marino signals the snap count with a raised foot. There's a long ball. Tony Martin is open, but there's an overthrow. As Marino misses an open target.
Boy, I'm telling you, that is a busted coverage. You don't ever want, with less than 20 seconds left and less than 10 seconds left in the first half, a receiver to run through your defense. There's Bill Cowher, the defensive coordinator. Spy. And that signal spy. So Spy 5. Spy 5. We're going to run a 2-deep zone here, and those guys that are in a 2-deep zone are probably going to be 50 yards deep. And the spy is you watch for Marino or the running back underneath.
I tell you, a very impressive performance is being turned in by Miami's Pro Bowl left tackle, Richmond Webb. He's been keeping the great Derek Thomas off the man. Off Marino. Eric Everett slaps down a ball intended for James Pruitt.
I don't think he ever saw the ball. That looked like it just bounced off Everett's hand there. Oh, they're without a running game.
There is no running game against this team.
Yeah, in this league, if you've got to stand back there and throw it on every down to get back in a football game, you are at such a disadvantage. And watch again here. I don't think Everett ever sees this ball. Oh, yes, he does. He does get his hand up. Marino now 12 of 25, 146 inconsequential yards.
They could put it up 60 times today. It does not bode well when you can't run, you can't win in this league. Not often.
Taking a timeout here.
At halftime, we'll be going to New York to Bob and Bill, OJ and Will for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. 28-0 is the score. Chiefs offense set the tone. First possession, they ran 68 yards. Christian Okoye ran 68 yards and multiple carries, taking it from 38 yards out on a TD run. 7-0. Then the Dolphins answered, went right down the field on some brilliant throwing by Marino. Had it first and goal at the Kansas City 2. Sammy Smith over the top. Struck, fumbled, ball at the goal line is picked up by linebacker Chris Martin. He ran it back 100 yards for a touchdown. Lights out. It was 14-0, and the Chiefs have since extended their lead to 28-0.
This is the reason that I like Kansas City for the rest of the season. Their defense, that performance the other night against Buffalo was shocking. What they did to Buffalo's offense is just no one thought they could do that.
Here's Marino. Lofting a long ball. There's about 10 people going for it. And it's taken in down for a touchdown.
No,
they roll him out of bounds at an inch from the goal line with time running out.
It's gone. Half over. Whoa.
One guy started to raise his arms. All the Dolphins did, but it's ruled that Tony Martin on a tip ball is knocked out of bounds an inch from the goal line. Watch this. Oh. They really didn't get by the pylon. The linesman is right there. And so the Dolphins were allowed out to close the first half.
James Pruitt tips the ball up in the air when he tries to catch it. Martin is right there to get it. Goodness.
There'll be days like this. Coach Schuler's been through the good and the bad, and today it's been a tough outing from start to finish. We still have a half to go. We'll be back with the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report as we take one other look.
That ball has got to be inside the cone for it to be a score. It's not.
This message from your local station coming up. Back to live action. The third quarter kickoff is going to be down in the end zone by Harvey Williams of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs will go on offense first and 10 at their 20-yard line with a 28-0 lead on the Dolphins.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler bring you this NFL Game of the Month. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Don Criqui with Bob Crumpy. DeBerg at quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Didn't throw much in the first half because he didn't have to. With 5 of 7 throws for 91 yards. Here's the man who did the damage, and he's doing more. Christian Okoye, battering ram, and he is. Slams at the Miami defense ahead for a gain of 11 yards and a Kansas City first down.
The Keystone halftime stats. Look at the rushing yardage by Kansas City. Christian Okoye had 116 of that 152 yards, a 6.4 yard average. Miami does not have a rushing first down. The one turnover, 100 yards by Chris Martin, and a touchdown.
Okoye with 128 yards rushing on 19 carries in the game. His big rush, a 38-yard touchdown run to open the scoring in the first quarter. First possession of the Chiefs. Back to Okoye, and again that straight ahead zone blocking, just blasting Dolphins off the line. A first down carry this time is good for 5. Most of his runs come to a abrupt halt as about 3 people hit him head on.
Don, look again here. Count the people that Miami has at the line of scrimmage. I count 8 guys at the line of scrimmage to try to stop Christian Okoye. But again, look at the great job by the offensive line, bowing that defensive line. And it's another 5-yard pickup on not a particularly good offensive run by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Tremendous play by the Chiefs offensive line. John Alt and Rich Baldinger the tackles. Dave Zott and David Lutz the guards. Tim Grunhard the center. Second down and 6 from the 35 for Kansas City. Okoye ahead for a gain of about 2 yards. On the stop for Miami was defensive end Alfred Oglesby, number 96.
Hands on hips. Miami players. Frustration. How do we stop this guy? Well, this is what they looked at in the first half. First 3 possessions, touchdowns. Also the return by Chris Martin on the fumble recovery. And then the punt at the end of the first half. That's impressive.
More than impressive. Miami has won 5 of the last 7 meetings against the Chiefs, including that game last January. And the Chiefs led 16-3 in the fourth quarter in the wild card playoff game. And Dolphins came back to win on 2 Marino touchdown throws and a field goal 17-16. Play fake. And the pass play is broken up, and now a marker comes in after the play. Bestie Jackson looked like a perfectly timed breakup, and the Dolphins are incensed. We'll see if the replay indicates that was a tough call, but we'll watch again.
Defensive pass interference, number 24.
Pat Haggerty on the call, and of course, Tom Olivadotti said, come on, fellas, give me a break. You know, you got a freight train back there running through my guys.
That was like a perfectly timed hit by Jackson.
Yeah, it did.
Watch.
But the flag is thrown, and of course, replay can't overturn that. Well, actually, they were shoulder pad and shoulder pad both going for the football. They could term that incidental contact, which is not a penalty. Play action fake. There's contact, but they're both looking at the ball. But nevertheless, flag stands. First down, Kansas City.
And back to the run. The rookie Harvey Williams takes on Dolphins as they try to strip the ball. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Victor Frank. Our director, Richard Klein. Executive producer of NBC Sports, Terry O'Neill. We're at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the Chiefs got things up to a very high level on Monday night with their rout of the Buffalo Bills, previously unbeaten. And now they carry it over against the Dolphins, the team that beat the Chiefs in the playoffs last January.
Williams had 100 yards rushing last week against Buffalo, as did Christian Okoye. And the Nigerian Nightmare back in the lineup.
Home field is often everything in the playoffs. At the moment, the Chiefs a game behind Buffalo and Kansas City in competition for the best record. Okoye moves it. Out and up and down to the 37-yard line, where a cornerback, J.B. Brown, sacrificing his body, finally gets him down.
Very seldom do you see Kansas City's linemen pull, but watch 72 Lutz. Just out there along with Bill Jones, 43 to lead. And I'm wondering if during the week, J.B. Brown might have had nightmares. You know, sometimes you you eat the wrong thing and you can't sleep at night. And I wonder if the nightmare included a 260-pound running back wearing a red helmet and 35 just coming around the corner there and you're faced with him. Well, that nightmare came to reality right there. Another first down, Kansas City. 22
led the
carries.
NFL in rushing 2 years ago.
22 rushes, 141 yards now for Christian Okoye, and 2 TDs. Beg your pardon.
Yep. Christian should have a sticker on his helmet, dangerous to your health to hit me. A punishing runner. Here's a swing pass. This one goes to Big Bill Jones. He can knock you out too, a 245-pound runner. And he's down to the 29-yard line of the Dolphins. Some of you viewing this game may be leaving to watch the Houston, New York Jets game. But everyone in the Kansas City and South Florida areas will stay with this game through its conclusion.
Don, look what happens. Look how this play action fake affects the linebacker. Watch the linebacker. Watch how he hesitates for just a minute. Oh my God, it's Okoye again. No, it's a pass. And Jones runs the pattern right in his area. That's what the play action pass does. It freezes those linebackers and basically takes them out of the coverage. Kansas City uses it beautifully.
Chiefs continue to methodically pound the ball at Miami. Using up 5 minutes here of the third quarter, and now DeBerg wants a timeout. The 15-year veteran from San Jose State, Steve DeBerg. We're back at Arrowhead Stadium. The Kansas City Chiefs have owned the ball here in the third quarter. In fact, they've owned the game. 8th play of the drive coming up now as they set up at the Miami 30-yard line. Second down. Chiefs need 2. There's the guy to get it. And much more as Okoye breaks it inside the 20 and down to the 16-yard line. And it's interesting, Trump, every time he runs with the ball, it's with 2 arms on it.
Yes.
He's got all that speed. As we check the Hertz 10-minute ticker, winners today, Washington, New Orleans, and Buffalo. Dallas and Minnesota. Houston leading the Jets by a field goal at halftime. Atlanta surprise leader at San Francisco, and the Rams have now come from behind to take a lead over the San Diego Chargers by 9 points at Anaheim. Barry Word is now in the game. Another power runner, 235-pound back. DeBerg, timing throw into the end zone. Good coverage on the play by 37 J.B. Brown. Freddie Jones, a speedster from Grambling, protesting he was interfered with. Official right there said no.
Looks like man coverage at the top by J.B. Brown. Timing pattern. They call this the fade. Well, if there was contact, we couldn't clearly see it. Neither could the official. So there's no flag. Fred wants to get a part of the celebration here. Come on, man. You know, let me catch the ball and get a touchdown here and enjoy some of the celebration.
Interesting, Trump, that Don Shula and Marty Schottenheimer, as you know, are both members of the NFL Competition Committee. Maybe they can get together and get this one closer. One of the things they're seriously going to look at after the season is are there being too many plays being lost because scoring is down. Barry Word running a slant inside the 15-yard line of the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, Don Shula mentioned that to us. You know, point totals are down and we losing plays. I don't imagine he has that feeling today.
No. 9 teams in the NFL of the 28 have not scored more than 21 points in the first 6 weeks of the season, including the Super Bowl champion Giants.
You know, Don, I got to tell you, the remainder of this game as a player on either side is very difficult to deal with. You want to keep your emotion as best you possibly can, but you firmly got this game in control if you're Kansas City. And in the case of Miami, most players are out there, whether you like to admit it or not, playing not to get hurt. And this is ugly to be a part of and ugly to watch on film.
It'll be painful to watch. Here's a throw into the end zone. It's Tom McNair. Touchdown, Kansas City.
On Oliver.
14 yards. And the beat goes on. The extra point by Lowry is up and good. We'd like to bid many of you an adieu now, as you're going to go to a much closer game. But as mentioned, everybody in the South Florida and Kansas City areas will stay with this game. And for those staying, we'll be back with yet another Kansas City Chiefs kickoff in a moment. Chiefs up 35-0. Nick Lowry ready to kick off again for Kansas City as the Chiefs have opened up a 35-0 lead. Aaron Craver from the goal line. Full 360. Bell upended him.
Watch the touchdown. We got man coverage everywhere all over the field. So that puts McNair on on Oliver. Nice move here. Oliver, who has had problems with coverage, is again beaten by a running back out of the backfield. He was first exposed in a playoff game last year against Buffalo by Thurman Thomas. That's no embarrassment, but McNair got him on this one. And from ground level, nice simple pass, good pattern run by McNair, another 6 points.
Now Marino against a three-man rush steps in. Goes to the outlet man. Duper waiting on the flank, takes the ball, and he gets ahead for a gain of close to 9 yards. Derek Thomas came over to make the tackle along with Kevin Ross.
And Saliamu is back in the ball game, and you can see how devastating the Kansas City Chiefs have been in the last 2 weeks. And of course, they've now gone, what, 9 quarters without allowing a touchdown, this defense?
9 quarters without allowing a TD as the Dolphins dig in again. They got a first down in the last play. They try to run. Smith is met by 3 tacklers, led by Saliamu, Derek Thomas. Ross was also on the play, and there's no gain.
You know, Don, I got to tell you, Sammy Smith looks nothing like the running back he did last year. He's very slow to the line of scrimmage, and I understand with the knee injury and everything. Sammy Smith, I thought, coming out of Florida State, out of the I-back, was to the line of scrimmage faster than any running back I'd seen. And to this point in this season, just very little out of Sammy Smith.
He has been troubled by that knee sprain that kept him out of the first 4 games. 2nd and 10 for Dan Marino. Throwing a catch. He gets Jim Jensen, but for not very much, where he is spotted ahead to the 33-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and a long 5, almost 6. Chris Martin, the linebacker who ran back the fumble recovery 100 yards for the Chiefs' 2nd touchdown, was the tackler. Deion Sanders had a 100-yard play. Ran back an interception against the 49ers today for 100 yards and a touchdown. He's got to scoot back and get that helmet off, put on that Braves hat. He really is prime time. Marino over the middle throw, and it's broken up by J.C. Pearson. Mark Clayton running a post pattern was open on the middle of the field, but Pearson recovers and slaps the ball away. Almost picked it from.
That's the 2nd time we've almost had a ball intercepted. Pearson inside coverage on Clayton. A little hesitation gets Clayton out in front. That ball hits him in the side of the helmet. Maybe a little Velcro up there on the helmet and the ball stick to it. Yeah, that still counts as an interception.
It is really exciting to see what's happened here in Kansas City, though. The rejuvenation of this franchise under Schottenheimer as the punt downfield will be taken. And Troy Stratford will run it back to the 39-yard line.
Just some credit to Carl Peterson, too.
Yeah, Peterson,
he's done a great job.
In combination, that was one of his first moves, was to hire Schottenheimer. Back after this. The Chiefs break the huddle. Running the ball today, they have 196 yards. As you look at all-pro cornerback Albert Lewis out with a knee sprain. 18 yards rushing for the Dolphins as the handoff goes to Barry Wood on first down. Dolphins swarm to the ball. Still trying to force a first turnover of the day. Miami's only turned over the ball one time, but it was the game turner. It was to turn the entire game. As we look at the Hertz 10-minute ticker, 5:40 to play in the third quarter. Deion Sanders with a 100-yard interception return to give Atlanta a lead at San Francisco. Gets a block, turns it across the 40-yard line. A second down and 10 play is good for about 3 yards as linebacker David Griggs was the tackler.
Don, you see the experience there of Steve DeBerg letting that 45-second clock run down, get as much time off the clock as possible. As you look at the Chiefs' rushing yards today, most since 1979. Excuse me, that was last week, of course. They are approaching that now.
And they've amended that now, Trump. There was a kickoff return by Deion Sanders for 100 yards and a touchdown.
Watch him use the clock here.
Motion in the line as the right tackle pulled early. Derek Graham in for Baldinger. John Alt might have moved also.
Well, start 76 prior to the snap.
The veteran John Alt called for it. The pros will compete in the Olympics for the first time. McDonald's Open next Saturday on NBC Sports. Throw to McNair, and he breaks it across the 50 and down to the 41-yard line.
Well, you see the fatigue in the Miami defense. McNair ran right through the arms of E.J. Jr. The linebacker last week who had 4 sacks. Again, they've come to that play many, many times today. There's 48, McNair to the left. Junior is the man in coverage, 54. Locked on. Now watch him break right through the tackle. Langford, 44 also. Kind of a tackle. That's McNair's 3rd catch for 61 yards. DeBerg says, boy, that pass play has worked. We'll keep coming back to that one.
Play fake. DeBerg takes a look. Fires to an open man. Running with the ball is Barnett. He's been in the end zone once and now twice. Touchdown, Chiefs.
Blown coverage by Miami. Just dropped the coverage, Don. DeBerg is saying, I can't believe he was that wide open. 41-yard touchdown reception. Barnett's 2nd of the day. Barnett can't believe he's wide open. He's expecting to be hit. There's nobody there. 41 yards and a score. Here's Barnett. Corner up, safety out. They drop him. He's wide open and can't believe there's nobody there to make the tackle.
And yet another kickoff now by Nick Lowry as the ball spins down to Aaron Traver. He crosses the 20. Head down, he gets to the 23. As the Chiefs, the best team in the NFL at forcing turnovers, are always looking for loose balls.
Again, watch what happens. The corner and the safety miscommunicate. Now the safety is Williams. They just drop coverage. And Barnett says, wait a minute, somebody's supposed to be there. J.B. Brown stops for a minute. Barnett goes in for 41 yards. And the Chiefs have scored on 5 of their 6 possessions today. And we got a new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
Scott Secules comes in. Has thrown only 6 passes for the Dolphins. Mr. Berg can't believe all these good things. 2:55 to go in the third quarter. Smith runs, and he gets a couple of yards. Tracy Simeon, an inside linebacker, number 54, hit him. Secules, a big, rangy quarterback, 6'4", 220 pounds, from the University of Virginia. He's thrown for 1 touchdown this year.
Well, this is the classic mop-up situation for Scott Secules.
But it comes awful early here, Trump. Third quarter.
Well, you protect the franchise, and the franchise is Dan Marino. He'll be back another day.
And DeBerg's back up. Mark Vlasic, a former University of Iowa quarterback, appears ready to come in when the Chiefs get the ball. Secules moves ahead for some yards, then drops a knee on the slide at the 30-yard line. It brings up 3rd down and 3. Dan Marino, you see the numbers today. No TDs, no interceptions. DeBerg throwing for 3 touchdowns today to up his season numbers to 9 touchdown throws against 4 interceptions. Third down and 3 as Secules takes a look, makes a throw. It's a first down for the Dolphins, but a marker's in the secondary of the Kansas City Chiefs as Tony Martin, running from off the pace, makes a quick cut into the middle of the field where Secules finds him.
Pass interference on somebody. Or holding.
Starting to look at a holding call. They'll take the play.
Defensive holding, number 40, before the run. Penalties decline. First down.
They do indeed take the play as the Dolphins are out to their 46-yard line.
Billy Bell on the outside with Martin to Chuck. And before he lets him go. Can't really see the hold there, but he had his hands all over Martin's shirt.
First and 10. Hand off to Craver, and Aaron Craver slicing upfield, crosses midfield, and is down to the 48-yard line as we check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. 1:05 to play here in the third quarter, and the Kansas City Chiefs in command of the Dolphins, 42-0. It was 35-0 at halftime. Jets and Oilers tied up in the third quarter, 13-all, and San Francisco's now tied up the Falcons in the third quarter. Rams continue to lead San Diego in a high-scoring game. Play ball. Dolphins have it. Derek Thomas was the enforcer there and knocked it free. Number 58.
I think that flag, though, is going to be against Kansas City. Again, the pass rush outside Webb.
Offside. Defense.
That's the first time he's beaten Richmond Webb, and Dolphins have put the ball up 40 times.
Eric Thomas is on the ground out in the middle of the field. No, man, you got to be kidding. Can't be on me. Please.
Offside. Defense. Number 83. First down.
Number 83. They got Stephon Page offsides. I think they mean 63. Bill Moss.
Be a good trick if Stephon could do it. He's not in uniform.
And Derek is saying, come on, my only sack of the day. Moss, line up on side, will you?
So the Dolphins advance now at the penalty yardage. This crowd doesn't let up like the KC Chiefs defense. They keep the heat on. Secules with a good ability to run the ball. Slides ahead for a first down at the 31-yard line. And that will do it for the third quarter. So Sequels in trouble, gets himself out of it with good speed afoot. And the third quarter ends with the Miami Dolphins getting a first down. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Miami Dolphins defense sitting on the bench. Cliff Odom 93, TJ Turner 96. They're still trying, but they have a deep imprint on some of these guys' chests. Faint impression of 35.
That's right. Branded. Sequels with a good throw. The ball is taken then lost. James Pruitt had his hands on it, but a hard stick by Eric Everett, number 39, freed the ball. So the Chiefs defense rises up again.
Pruitt saying, nah, that wasn't a hard hit. Everett on the outside zone coverage. You see him looking in at the quarterback. Nice try, but well-timed hit. And Pruitt gets up. Best thing about the rest of this game for Don Shula and his Miami Dolphins, they don't want somebody carried off the field. They can get through this disaster without a major injury. At least there's something to look forward to for next week.
Won't be easy next week as the Houston Oilers come to South Florida to play at Joe Robbie Stadium. Sequels throws, and a catch is made by Tony Martin. So Sequels with a good strong arm delivers a line drive 17 yards down the field, and Martin goes up protecting the ball with his body, and he has a first down for the Dolphins.
Now I can hear the folks in Dade County and Broward County in South Florida. Why couldn't they do that earlier? Reason is the mindset of the Kansas City defense is we're going to play loose defense, keep all the receivers in front of us. We'll give you all the yards you want in front of us. You're not going to get a cheap play. Martin over 100 yards receiving today. Fourth catch.
Having a big day amidst the overall disaster the Dolphins are going through, down 42-0 to Kansas City. Kevin Ross knocks the ball away from Scott Miller.
Well, now I would say that Kansas City's pride takes over. The defensive pride continue this shutout. Ross, excellent hands here, just reaching up there, knocking that ball away.
You watch this Kansas City team and you wonder, will this continue right down through the Super Bowl? But it's a league of momentum and then losing momentum. Buffalo looked this good for the first couple of weeks.
Sure did.
95 points they scored or something.
That's an excellent point. But right now, Kansas City's the hottest team in the AFC.
Without question. Aaron Craver makes the reception, pays a stiff price as he's struck by 3 Chiefs defenders, led by Chris Martin.
Look at Bill Cowher. He wants that shutout, doesn't he?
Yeah. They've only given up 6 touchdowns all season. NFL low, as you see.
Hand signals to Dino Hackett. They use a wristband here in Kansas City. He's telling him there's an A menu and a B menu, and it's either Dino Hackett or it's Chris Martin who gets the message in on the field. Martin on the sideline, Hackett on the sideline. Martin gets the signals.
Sequels hands off. Craver busts 1 tackle. He might be going down close. He's down to the 3-yard line.
First down. Geez, he ran into his own man there. Looked like his own guy was going to knock him for a loss. Watch what happens. Webb pulls. Craver runs right into him. Good leg strength, bounces off. And then Bell, number 40 for Kansas City, who has had a big day today. Being in on a lot of action, is there to get him on the ground. Neil Smith was blocked by Webb. Craver, the rookie.
Mark Higgs, who started a number of games for Miami and run very well, he's banged up. He's in uniform and told Shula he could play if they needed him. Chiefs fans are up and cheering. They want a shutout. Sequels, he'll score the Dolphins' first touchdown, standing up.
Design play, quarterback draw. That's the first touchdown against the Chiefs in 11 quarters, Don.
Looked easy for Sequels.
Well, the secret to this play is that Kansas City does not employ a middle linebacker. There's nobody there. They got man coverage all over the place. So Sequels just goes back and finds the dead spot in the zone. No middle linebacker. There's nobody there to really worry about. You see, 46 Washington gets blocked by the official, and Sequels walks in.
Sequels, a player the Dolphins acquired in a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. The extra point is hit up and good by Stoyanovich, and now the Dolphins are on the board, trailing 42-7. In a rare occurrence, they'll kick off to come back.
What?
Dolphins finally on the board. Kick it off. They hit the ball downfield, and here is Harvey Williams, the 225-pound sprinter from LSU. Breaks it. Markers down. Williams crosses the 40 and is taken down at the 40-yard line of Miami, but there's 2 markers down, probably for illegal blocks.
Harvey saying, man, come on. I didn't need that pushing it back to get that yardage.
Holding number 27 on the return.
Well, he does accelerate here, doesn't he?
Tremendous.
When he sees this little opening, wham, he's through there. Could not pick up the holding, but it was called on number 27 of the Kansas City Chiefs, Kevin Porter.
There's no question this Chief team has served notice in the last 2 games. Space of 6 days. They could be a Super Bowl team. They were in the playoffs last January, as mentioned, losing to Miami 17-16. Their previous playoff appearance of that was in '86. They lost a wild card game to the Jets in '86, 35-15. As Mark Vlasic comes in now to quarterback the Kansas City Chiefs. Schottenheimer has been very impressed since they acquired him. He was a 4th-round draft choice originally of San Diego. Mark Vlasic, now his 4th. Now, while we have a minute, let's go to NFL Live in New York. 11:39 to go here at Arrowhead.
The obvious question I have to ask you here, Don Criqui, is Mr. Vlasic of the pickle fortune, or?
We're told it's not.
We're told it's not. No gherkins in the.
No.
Okay.
Out of the aired any pickle wells.
Certainly would be a nice job to fall back on if your NFL career doesn't work out. Maybe we can introduce him to the pickle Vlasics, huh?
And now we'll take a quick review of the 10-minute ticker. Current scores only. Houston and the Jets gone to the 4th quarter tied up. Atlanta's come back again to take a lead at San Francisco. Rams continue to lead the Chargers by 9 at Anaheim. Rob Thomas starting to run before he had the ball. He was
best hands on the team.
Leading receiver coming in with just 15 catches. They don't throw it a lot because, as mentioned, they haven't had to.
J.B. Brown in coverage, and you're right. He can see J.B. Brown back off, knows I got a chance for a big play here if you keep the ball.
11:13 to play in the game. The Chiefs coming in with the 19th rated offense in the NFL and the 7th rated defense. They've converted 6 of 7 previous 3rd down attempts as Kansas City. Vlasic stands in, makes the delivery. James Saxon catches the ball, but he's well short of the 1st down. E.J. Jr. 54 was there to get him, along with Ned Bolkar, number 53. And the Chiefs have to punt. An NBC News special, the Thomas nomination, Time to Decide, coming up tonight on NBC Primetime, followed by 2 great stars and 2 great new shows. Brian Barker stands in his end zone. 1 punt, 57 yards. Dolphins go for the block. Barker booms another one very high. But Miller will fair catch at his 46-yard line. So the Dolphins send out their offense with its backup quarterback, Scott Sequels, when we come back to Arrowhead Stadium. Back at Arrowhead Stadium, the beat goes on for the Kansas City Chiefs. A 42-7 leader over Miami. What do you draw from this if you're a Dolphin?
That it's about to end. that it doesn't go for 6 quarters, and you don't have to play this team again in 1991.
Do you think they can still be a playoff team?
Absolutely they can, but they got to get people back and healthy. There's no question about that. But this is something that Don Shula, I think, has been through enough, and he knows how to deal with something like that with his team. But it's humiliating as a football player to have to go through this.
Hand off to Craver as he takes it across the 45-yard line. Knocked down at the 46.
Don, the humiliation, as I mentioned, as you look at the fans here at Kansas City, is that this tape goes to your next 3 opponents in the NFL trade films thing. You never want to see, if you're Tom Olivadotti or if you're a defensive player, you never want to see that kind of film passed around through the NFL. I mean, you hope that you can. You hope that they burn it or lose it or something happens to it. This is not what Don Shula wants the rest of the league to think of his team.
Sequels delivers a long ball, but it's to the wrong guy. Billy Bell picks it off for the Chiefs, and they have it at their 36-yard line.
Martin was the intended receiver. Bell was the only one that saw it thrown.
And the war chant booms in again. All day long. And into the night. There's the Chief himself.
They admit stealing it from Tallahassee, Florida, where the Florida State Seminoles use it. Atlanta admits the same thing, and Kansas City doesn't mind.
As Will McDonough was saying on NFL Live today, it's a good year for Native American teams. The Seminoles, the Chiefs, the Braves, all doing the tomahawk chop.
So then do we pick the Canucks to win in the NHL, the Vancouver Canucks?
Penalty markers all over as Barry Wurr runs the ball.
We have 12 men on the offense, also holding on the offense.
Well, now that explains it. No wonder they've been running the ball so well today with 12 men on the field. Come on, you guys. To try to help look at Miami's problems, these injuries have been absolute killers for them. Grimsley was scheduled to be the inside starting linebacker with Offerdahl. You can see both those guys are out. Sims out for the next 4 weeks at least. Turner played today. Sammy Smith played today. Webb played today, but all 3 of these guys are hurting. Edmonds is on the IR. John Grimsley, a guy they acquired from Houston to help inside. You can see that this is just not the team that played Kansas City last year in the playoffs because of injury. And Marino doesn't get hurt, so next week he starts his 115th straight game. And as a professional football player, you celebrate the victories and you celebrate them short and sweet, and you do the same thing for losses. You lament short and sweet. That's Jeff Cross with the ice bag on his shoulder. Probably Okoye disease. And Tom Olivadotti, his team's problem stopping the run.
He might have to play pretty soon.
Continue. Yeah.
They're running low on people, the Dolphins. As the Chiefs get set to go on offense now. First and 10, first and 18 with the ball in position. They run with Barry Wurr. Dolphins come hitting hard. B.J. Jr. was a tackler, so was Bobby Harden, number 45. As the game clock mercifully winds down inside of 9 minutes to play.
We need one of those collapsible fourth quarters like you and I used to do in the Hula Bowl, you know? We move to further action in the same quarter.
And the Hula Bowl, they have to get up at a certain time and just keep the clock running in timeouts. Whatever it takes. But here you've got to play the whole 60 minutes. Every tick. Pat Haggerty is our referee as he now Signals the Chiefs to go back in. You see, that's a rather amazing statistic. Smiling Steve DeBerg, 19-8 since becoming the Chiefs starter. But look at his record as a quarterback prior to that.
Think he likes it here?
Oh. He was 3 years at San Francisco, 3 years at Denver, 4 years at Tampa Bay, and now his 4th year with the Chiefs.
Well, if history repeats itself, the next quarterback that Kansas City gets to replace Steve DeBerg is going to be a good one.
We need DeBerg back in Tampa.
Well, he was there. DeBerg told me Friday at practice, surprised me too. He wants to be an NFL assistant coach when he retires. And I said, well, when are you going to retire? He said, oh, I haven't even thought about that yet. But when I do retire, I want to be an assistant coach, coach quarterbacks. I think I can teach him a lot. He's learned a lot as a player. Played for Bill Walsh, played for Sam White, played with Roger Staubach in Dallas, and those are the 3 greatest offensive teachers he's been around.
In his 15th year, Steve DeBerg. On a rollout now, Mark Vlasic running out of time, fires to an open man, J.J. Burton. He's to the 36-yard line.
Boy, you don't throw it late down the middle, but when you lead 42-7, what the heck. The way this day's gone, everything's worked for Kansas City, including breaking the #1 cardinal rule of a young quarterback. Don't throw it late down the middle. He's flushed out of the pocket. Across his body, he throws it. E.J. Jr. to make the tackle. But another nice pickup for Kansas City.
A very nice pickup for J.J. Burton. A fleet young wide receiver. A lot of these pass catchers who were backups getting a chance with the injuries to Stephon Page and Emil Harry. Harvey Williams breaks through the crust of Miami defenders and takes it down to the 29-yard line. A first down carry is good for 7.
You know, Don, I like this Williams kid, but if he has a problem, it's the same problem that Christian Okoye came to the league with, and that is that upright runner. This kid out of LSU has blazing speed, but at 6'2", watch how high he runs. Almost straight up. And if he got some body lean, he wouldn't be so susceptible to those side tackles. So something to learn, but you know, I don't think they teach you that stuff in college. When you're that fast, they just give it to you and say, get through there.
He was the best schoolboy player in the state of Texas, picked LSU, and then drafted in the first round by the Chiefs last April as he runs it again. Harvey Williams, an emerging star, they think, here in Kansas City at 103 yards Monday night against Buffalo. Getting more and more work as this game wears on as Ned Bolkar, a 2-time captain at Notre Dame as a collegian, makes the stops. He sports. 5:30 to play in the game. Kansas City goes to the pass. Vlasic throws to an open man. J.J. Burton tackles and weaves down to the 13-yard line.
How about that move? Mike Iaquinello on the tackle, but goodness, Burton. 13-yard reception. Man, did he stop on a dime there? Comes in motion. Vlasic finds him. This is the easy part. Now, this is the tough. You don't coach this. That'll freeze you dead in your tracks.
Chiefs got a lot today, and they want more. 14 points in the first quarter, 14 in the second, 14 in the third. At that point, it was 42-0. Now it's 42-7. Back to Williams as he cuts down to the 5-yard line, and markers come in. Umpire threw him in. Could be a hold against the Chiefs on the run on a 1st and 10 play. Williams got ahead for about 8 yards. Holding it is. Chiefs have had a problem front with penalties today.
11 for 84 yards.
Holding. Offense. Number 85. Still first down.
Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, called for holding. Well, again, check the scoreboard on the 10-minute ticker. As we look at the current scores, Houston now leading the Jets 16-13, and time permitting, We'll take our audience to this game if this ends first to that Houston Jet game. Back to the run. Williams out of the backfield and knocked down to the 25-yard line. Good defensive play by Donnie Gardner, number 79 of the Dolphins.
I got right inside the block of the left tackle and was there to really get Harvey Williams before he could get going. I think you'll see what happens here. Yeah, Gardner comes right inside the left tackle, John Alt. And Williams really can't get going.
Next Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs will play at Denver on Sunday, October 20. Then they come back home for a Monday night game with the LA Raiders. Have a bye the next week. Then they play the Rams on the West Coast.
Denver is a tough place for Kansas City to play. Denver has historically played this team very, very tough. No matter what their problems are, Denver's problems are. John Elway. Marty Schottenheimer said, last week we faced Jim Kelly, this week Dan Marino, next week John Elway. And all three of those guys, as you look at that schedule, there's only one team on there with a winning record, but look at the teams on that. They got the Raiders, they've got the 49ers, they got the Raiders twice.
The Seahawks are coming on. And the Broncos, as you point out, Trump, always tough, particularly against the Chiefs at Kansas City. Williams runs, fights his way. No quit in the Dolphins. They keep striking hard. Miami will fall to 3-4 with today's defeat. As they contend for a wild card spot, it seems more than unlikely they'll catch the Bills. Oilers next at Joe Robbie Stadium next Sunday. Then they play at Indianapolis. Colts fell to 0-7 with a rout loss at Buffalo today. Then they go against the Patriots in Florida, play the Bills in Florida. So the Dolphins with a string of 4 home games coming up. Out pass to Rob Thomas. He's taken out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
Well, there's a little mercy there by Marty Schottenheimer. He does not go for the field goal on the 4th down. Turns the ball over to Miami. Nice touch by Marty Schottenheimer in my estimation, Don.
So it was. 3 of the next 4 Dolphin games will be at home. They play at Indianapolis. They also have a bye coming up before they hook up with the Bears in Chicago. Marty Schottenheimer with a rising Chiefs team that has emerged in the last 2 games as one of the elite in the NFL. Off 2 stupendous performances. Now Mark Higgs is in the game, running hard on 1st down. He crosses the 20-yard line. Gets out to the 22. And that'll take it down to the 2-minute warning. The final 2 minutes coming up as the Chiefs are ready to go to 5-2 on the season. 2 minutes to go. The Kansas City Chiefs counted their winnings long ago as a very down Miami Dolphin team on the short end of a 42-7 score. Pitch back to Mark Higgs of the Dolphins, and he's across the 25-yard line to the 28. As we now check the Canon camcorder replay of the game. Trump.
This was giant. Second drive of the game for the Miami Dolphins. The hit by Tracy Simeon, 54 on Sammy Smith. Picked up by Chris Martin 100 yards later. The second score by the Kansas City Chiefs. They go up 14-0.
Jack Tatum of the Oakland Raiders with the longest. He ran one back 104 yards. That was very close to being 101 yards. Martin was a yard deep in the end zone when he reached out and picked it up at the goal line. Higgs looks for something, and all he finds is a hard-hitting Lonnie Martz coming over the top. And we'll look now at the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker as you look at the day's action. On Sunday, number 7, Redskins perfect. Cincinnati imperfect. They've yet to win. Houston still leads the Jets, and as mentioned, we'll be taking many to that game if time permits. They still got a long way to go in that one. Land in San Francisco in a shootout. New Orleans remains unbeaten. Back to the run. Higgs turns it upfield, breaks through the first line of defenders, and then a marker comes in, could have a face mask.
We were told at the outset of this game that Higgs, with a thigh problem, could play if need be.
Face mask. 5-yard penalty. Number 31.
Inadvertent by Kevin Ross.
"23 seconds left to go, and as soon as this one's over, we'll be going right to the Meadowlands in New Jersey for the conclusion of the Houston Oilers-New York Jets game. At the moment, late in the fourth quarter, the Oilers lead the Jets 16-13. Another great day for the Kansas City Chiefs and their fans. They won it early and just kept building on the lead. Ezekiel's on the run. Lost a long ball. What an arm. There's a man open, but the throw is taken out of bounds by James Pruitt.
Also a flag, Don.
Ezekiel's has got a gun, though.
Yeah, on the run, he throws the ball very well, doesn't he?
Scott Ezekiel's launching a long one. He's big, as mentioned, 6'4", 220 pounds.
There was no foul on the play. Disregard the flag.
Okay,
The quarterback was out of the pocket when the ball was thrown.
Okay, thanks, Pat. We appreciate that. I think what there was contact between the defender and receiver. When that quarterback runs out of there, he's definitely out of bounds. Well thrown by Ezekiel's, though, distance-wise.
Ezekiel's was the third quarterback taken in the 1988 draft, but he was a sixth-round choice. There weren't many quarterbacks that went that year. Chris Chandler went to Indianapolis, and Don McPherson to Philadelphia ahead of him. Here's a handoff. Higgs at 5'7", 190, pumping hard. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. Producer of today's game, Victor Frank. Director, Richard Klein. Coordinating producer of NFL football, John Paratzis. As Marty Schottenheimer and his Chiefs leave the field, a dominating victory of the Dolphins, 42-7. Now for Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey. Glad to be with us in KC. A good one is coming up. The conclusion of the Oilers and the Jets. We're getting set now to throw it to Marv Albert and Paul McGuire at the Meadowlands in New Jersey.